Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. Decided to try a little video here where we can talk about just current weather events, what's really going on, since there hasn't been a lot of storm shades in the past couple weeks. So figured I'd try something new, maybe do a little video for you guys and just see how it works. But we got a couple of things to talk about here. The first thing here being this Hurricane Lee right now, which is just off the East Coast near Bermuda. Hurricane Lee right now is a Category 1 hurricane, and it's just to the southwest of Bermuda right now. As you can see, kind of a large area of hurricane force winds and a much larger area of tropical storm force winds, and you can see it is moving off to the north. Looks like the main part of Lee is going to miss Bermuda to the west and miss pretty much the whole East Coast. But that cone does include a little bit of Maine. So, it looks like Maine and parts of New England up there are going to be under the gun for maybe some tropical storm conditions. But it appears the center of Lee is probably going to make landfall up in Nova Scotia as either a low-end tropical or a high-end tropical storm, low-end hurricane. It's currently a Category 1 hurricane. High-end Category 1, which is pretty far removed from where it was earlier in its life. This storm was a Category 5 hurricane and was one of the fastest or most rapid intensifying hurricanes ever in the Atlantic. It went from like a Category 1 to a 5 in not a lot of time. So there was a lot of concern that this thing maybe was going to remain a very powerful hurricane, and we weren't sure early on whether it was going to make that turn north or if it was going to keep going straight. But thankfully for the U.S. and everybody, it's taken that right turn and appears to be weakening considerably. So with that being said, I'm not going to be chasing this thing as it sits. If it was going to go more into the U.S. and make landfall as a bigger hurricane, I would have been there. But with this thing making landfall in Nova Scotia, this one's off the table for me right now. But what's on the table right now is we do have some severe weather shaping up next week potentially. It's very conditional at the moment. Depends on whether or not this trough comes to fruition. But we do have a trough that's working its way into the Central Plains next week here. So this is the, let's see, which run is this here? This is the 12Z GFS run, and we're looking at the 500 millibar winds. These are the jet stream. We're looking at the jet stream here. These are winds that are way, way up, way aloft in the atmosphere. And what we're seeing here is this trough. It's this kind of U-shaped feature. Almost looks like a horseshoe here. That would be the trough. And the part that we're interested in here is this portion right here. This would be the where you have that southwest flow on the east side of the trough. That's where you're going to get that severe weather. Looks like could be a chance of severe weather from the Dakotas all the way down to Colorado here. Based on that, placement's going to be very hard to pin down this far out, pretty much impossible. So we won't really get into the details of this thing. But if we do in fact get this trough, which multiple models are now showing us getting it, severe weather is going to be likely with this system as we're entering the second season for severe weather. That's what storm chasers call it, second season. That's when you start to get those troughs coming back in because you're transitioning from really, spring transitions into summer. Summer's typically, kind of a quiet period as far as like troughs are concerned. And then now we're going to be coming into the fall season, and then we get an increase in those troughs. You get the big systems coming through the U.S., and that's what we're seeing here potentially. This could be our first decent trough of the fall season. And, of course, all hazards could be possible, tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds. It's just knowing how this is going to shape up, whether or not that's going to be a real thing is really the question right now. One thing that's also positive about this setup, though, is the moisture return. There's a couple days where that moisture is able to flow in from the Gulf of Mexico. You got, this big pool down here of 70 dews in the Gulf, and you can see it slowly pulling that up into the Central Plains. And then by the time that trough comes in, you have, some good mid-60s, low 60s, mid-60s, even upper 60 dews across the plains. So depending on how that shapes up, this could be a decent severe weather setup, but there's a lot of factors at play with this one, and the biggest factor right now is the fact that it is about a week out, maybe a little bit more. We're talking maybe Wednesday, Thursday at the earliest, but more realistically, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So probably next weekend is when we're most likely to get this, but we're going to have to keep an eye on it regardlessly. Let's take a look at our instability here, our surface-based CAPE. And this is basically that fuel for these thunderstorms. Essentially, the more CAPE, the more fuel there is. But with severe weather, you really just need enough. And if you have enough, anything's possible. So as we're seeing here, this is next week. That would be Tuesday. We already have some instability, some CAPE there. Going into Wednesday, got a little more. It's building up. That's as that moisture is flowing in. And then look at that right there on Thursday. You've got a pretty large area of over 1,000 joules a kilogram of CAPE there, and areas over 2 and even up to 3,000 joules a kilogram. So CAPE does not look like it's going to be an issue, at least according to the GFS there. As you can see, then the system rolls through, and then you have less instability as it moves east. But then even on the heels of that, there's another system that comes through. So we're watching that as well. But in all likelihood, if this pans out, I will be out chasing this event. It could be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Not sure how many days it'll be. But if this holds, I'll be out chasing next week. We'll be streaming live. So that's pretty exciting. I haven't really, I chased the hurricane. But other than that, I haven't streamed since the Yuma, Colorado tornado, which was over a month ago now, which is kind of crazy that it's already been a month. But and speaking of Yuma, I've been working on that video. A lot of work going into it. There's a lot of different angles, a lot of different pieces that I'm having to work on, voiceovers, music, all that stuff. It takes a lot of time to make those videos, but I am working on it, hoping to have it done maybe within a month. I know that's a long time, but I want to make it as good as I can make it, and that takes time. I can't really rush it if I want to make the best video possible. Let's see, did I have the... Yeah, this is a little bit of the footage I've been working on here. I also have angles from Ryan and Connor, Alex. They're all in here. Yeah, this was kind of a fun moment right here.
Oh my gosh, right in front of us.
Oh my goodness! Look at that thing go!
Tornado here. It's right here.
Right in front of the car. Look at this! There's a bunch of them!
Oh, look at the forest over there. Look at them go. We're right underneath it.
Drop on top of me!
So that's the that first tornado we got when it was weak dusty tornado. Also have some pretty good shots here of the mesocyclone just cranking here. I'll have to show you this bed.
Oh my gosh, it's huge.
Whoa! Big time CJ strike!
Wow! The whole thing's on the ground.
It's a monster. We're right next to this thing.
And then, a few more clips in here. I was driving into the circulation, getting a little close call here with this developing tornado. And then later on, this is when things really started to get intense. Warmed up. This is Alex here. Alex is his windshield, rear windshield.
Ah! Big time tornado though!
Wow! Whoa! That didn't help.
Big time tornado right now! Right now on the ground!
Ryan was really excited.
Can't see on my window.
Oh. And then right here was just, this is one of my favorite shots, I'd say.
There it is, right in front
The
of
whole
us.
thing.
Huge!
Oh my gosh, here's Freddy. He's crossing the road right here.
It's a huge tornado.
Oh my! Yes! Yes! Look at it!
Just unbelievable tornado. So that's about that's what I got done so far. I mean, it takes a lot to really put all these cuts together, music together, voiceovers together. I've actually gotten further than this too, but that's kind of what I have polished up so far. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for you guys. Appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate everybody for tuning into this. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue doing this, but we'll see how it goes, see how you guys like this. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.